Today it is time to recreate a New York classic, the pastrami. We tasted our first one at Katz Deli and loved it. The way Katz creates the pastrami is a very time-consuming process and needs a lot of professional hardware. It needs about 4 weeks of curing. So for our first try of recreating a New York pastrami at home, we tried an easier and quicker way, which only needs 1 week of preparation in advance. For the traditional Katz pastrami, a special part of the beef brisket is used, the beef navel. It is difficult to get, so we use the beef brisket, which is more attainable for everyone. So we followed 3 steps for our perfect pastrami. Wet curing the beef, then rubbing the beef, and lastly smoking the beef. So let's start with the first step, wet curing the beef. For the brine in which you will cure the beef for at least 7 days, you will need curing salt, brown sugar, garlic, rosemary, ginger, bay leaves, coriander seeds, pepper and mustard seeds. You will find the exact amounts in the description box. Start by toasting the seeds in a pan without any oil and grind them together with the bay leaf. Add brown sugar into a pot of water and add the rosemary, smash garlic and the pickling spices. Bring the brine to boil until the sugar is dissolved. Remove it from the heat, let it cool down and put it in a container large enough for the brisket while still fitting into your fridge. Add the curing salt, give it a stir and finally place the brisket into its bath. If your beef starts to float to the top, simply put a weight on it to make sure the entire brisket is immersed. We used a small plastic bag filled with water, which we tied up in order for the fresh water not to mix with the brine. Put it in the fridge for at least 7 days and flip the brisket every day. After 7 days of curing, we are ready for rubbing in the meat. For the rub you will need seeds like coriander seeds, black pepper and red pepper seeds, and mustard seeds. You will also need ground spices like smoked paprika, paprika powder, garlic powder, onion powder, coriander powder, and ginger. Again, start by toasting the seeds in a pan without oil. Put them in a mixer and blend the seeds until they form a nice chunky powder. Add the powdered spices and your rub is ready to be applied. Take the brisket out of the brine and rinse it with fresh water. If you prefer your pastrami less salty, you can put your beef in a bowl with fresh water for another night. We like our pastrami salty, so we skip this step. Now you can tenderly give your brisket a massage with the yummy rub. And now the more challenging part begins, the smoking.
I prepared our Kamado barbecue to 210 Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius, so it was low and slow cooking. We only used charcoal, which gives the pastrami a rustic aroma. Now smoke the brisket for at least 8 hours or until you reach an internal temperature of 160 Fahrenheit or 70 degrees Celsius. After 6 hours and an internal temperature of 150 Fahrenheit, we cheated it a little bit, used some tinfoil to speed up the process. With the wrapped meat, it took about another hour to reach the desired core temperature. Of course, we could have simply left the meat on the smoker for longer, but it was getting late and we started to get hungry and grumpy.
And there you have it, a New York pastrami with an overall preparation time of about 1 week, but it was worth all the effort. The taste and aromas by themselves were superior to that of Katz. However, the tenderness and juiciness of Katz meat is definitely better. So in the next try we will recreate a copycat version of Katz original pastrami, where they also steam the meat ahead of serving. We ate our pastrami sandwich the traditional way, like you get it at Katz, on a rye bread with some mustard and pickles on the side. We also prepared a roux with a classic Russian dressing. At least if there is something like one universally accepted classic Russian dressing recipe. If you know the original recipe, let us know in the comments below. We mixed mayo, ketchup, horseradish, mustard, sriracha and Worcester sauce. Worcester, whatever. For a little crunch we added pickled bell peppers and blanched onions. Unfortunately we were out of pickles. For the extra kick we added lemon juice, salt and agave syrup and chive. We roasted some rye bread in a pan with butter and also rubbed a half of garlic on the bread slices. Then we just built a traditional roux sandwich. Russian dressing, the pastrami, Swiss cheese and some fresh homemade sauerkraut. This was such a good sandwich. To have your homemade pastrami in the fridge makes you want to eat sandwiches for every lunch. And it's very quick to prepare once you have your pastrami. Give it a try. It is very easy, just a little time consuming.